Nidya,
of to oneself, Hayo, and to others, Kriyan, how much, Va, all, Artha, purpose, Svaparadruha, which is envious of the performer and others, Dharina, with the religious system, Shradroha, from being envious of one's own self, Tava, of you, Kopa, anger, Parasamhithaya, by giving pain to others, Cha, also, Tata, as well as, Adharma, irreligion. Translation: how can a religious system that produces envy of oneself and of others be beneficial for oneself and for them? What is auspicious about following such a system? What is actually to be gained? By causing pain to one's own self due to self-envy, and by causing pain to others, one arouses your anger and practices irreligion. Any religious system by the process of Bhagavad Dharma, service as an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a system of envy of one's own self and of others. For example, there are many systems of religion in which animal sacrifices are recommended. Such animal sacrifices are inauspicious both for the performer and for the animal. Although one is sometimes permitted to sacrifice an animal before the goddess Kali and eat it, instead of purchasing meat from a slaughterhouse, permission to eat meat after a sacrifice in the presence of the goddess Kali is not the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is simply a concession for the miserable persons who will not give up eating meat. It is meant to restrict his desire for unrestricted eating. Such a religious system is condemned. Therefore Krishna says, Sarva-dharman parityajya mam ekam saranam vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. That is the last word in religion. One may argue that the sacrifice of animals is recommended in the Vedas. This recommendation, however, is a restriction. Without Vedic restrictions, one other purchases of meat. People will purchase meat from the market, which will be overflooded with meat shops, and slaughterhouses will increase. To restrict this, sometimes the Vedas says that one may eat meat after sacrificing an insignificant animal like a goat before the goddess Kali. In any case, the system of religion in which animal sacrifices are recommended is inauspicious for those who perform the sacrifices and for the animals. Envious persons who perform ostentatious animal sacrifices are condemned in Bhagavad Gita 16:17 as follows: Atma sambhavita sambha dhanam hana smadhan vidha yajante nama yakyaste dhamhin naiv vidi purvakam. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Sometimes animal sacrifices are performed very gorgeously with grand arrangement for worshipping goddess Kali, but such festivals, although performed in the name of yajna, are not actually yajna, for yajna means to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it is recommended that in this age especially, yajna sankirtana prayaya jantihi shumedasaha. Those who have good intelligence satisfy the yajna purusha, Vishnu, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Envious persons, however, are condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as follows: Ankaram padatarpam karman krodam cha samrita mamatma deshu pradvisanto payasu yaka tananam tvisava kurvan samsaresu naradana kshipam yam yataram asubham asuris vesas jonisu. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demon becomes envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in his own body and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. Bhagavad Gita 16:18-19. These persons are condemned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as indicated by the words Tava Koha. A person who commits murder is envious of himself and also of the person he has killed. For the result of committing murder is that he will be arrested and hanged. If one transgresses the laws of man-made government, he may escape being killed by the state, but one cannot escape the laws of God. A killer of any animal must be killed in his next life by the same animal. This is the law of nature. One must follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord, Sarva Dharman Prityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. If one follows any other systems of religion, he is subject to punishment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in many different ways. Therefore, if one follows a concocted system of religion, he is envious not only of others, but of himself also. Consequently, his system of religion is useless. Srimad Bhagavatam 128 says, Dharma srunustitat pungsam vishvaksena tathasya nutpalayate dhirachin shrama eva kevalam. Duties, dharma, executed by men regardless of occupation, are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the Supreme Lord. Follow a system of religion that does not awaken one's Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is merely a waste of time and labor. Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Kakshemuni Palayo Priyan Vacha Shvaparan Dhruva Dharmina Shvadroha Tamakopa Parasvapitaya Tata Dharma. How can a religious system that produces envy of oneself and of others be beneficial for oneself and for them? What is suspicious about following such a system? What is actually to be gained? By causing pain to one's own self due to self-envy and by causing pain to others, one arouses your anger and practices irreligion. And in this verse, just in the verse twice, it is said that by causing pain to others and to oneself. And Prabhupada, if I remember correctly just now from reading, I think it's repeated 3 times. So this is really the emphasis in this verse, that when one is causing pain to others, one is causing pain to oneself. And of course the whole world, the topic of the verse is adharma, of how if one is not following a proper religious system, not following a dharma culture, then that is actually irreligion. And that causes pain to oneself and as well to others. So Bhagavatam, it starts by saying what is really Dharma, what is Bhagavatam all about. Dharma Protita Kaitavata, Paramonia Matsanam Satam. So first it says Dharma Protita Kaitavata. All Kaitava Dharma is Protita, completely rejected. Dharma Protita Dharma Protita Kaitavata. Nimatsaranam Satam, Vidyam. And it can be Vidyam, it can be understood only by whom? Those who are free from envy. Nirmatsana. Completely free from envy. That's the only, otherwise you cannot understand religion. When we speak real religion, Dharma. You can only understand it when you're free from envy. Because otherwise, as Krishna says in the Nectar of Devotion, I hide myself for such a person. For a person who is not ready to give up that envy, I hide myself. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samadhita mudhoyam napyanati romamajamuni. That Krishna says, for one, Naham prakasha sarvasya, start by saying, I'll never manifest to everyone and anyone. Naham prakasha sarvasya all. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samadhita mudho. For the fools, for the asses and rascals, I call myself my yoga maya, so that they cannot see me. And therefore they do not know that I am the supreme and inexhaustible. So, if like that is not there, if the principle of surrender is not there, if the principle of giving up the envy is not there, or at least the desire to give up the envy is not present, then we cannot speak about religion. Then we actually mentioned yesterday about the Thakur says that there's three kinds of dharma. So it's anishta dharma, anicca dharma, naimittika dharma, and nitya dharma. So these three categorizations are there to distinguish between what is the real thing and what is the cheating. Because this world consists, as the Lord says, of the cheaters and the cheated. Everyone is cheated in this world because it's full of cheaters. So naturally, because there's so many cheaters, practically everyone is cheated. And also because people, they want to be cheated. Because people, they want an easy deal. Give me a quick fix. Give me God in a pill. Like everything's in pills today. You want happiness, you take pills. You want sleep, you take pills. Everything is there. You want to increase your digestion, you take pills. Everything is just pills. That is the solution. Because it's very quick. And there's no real austerity, except you have to go and buy them and swallow them. Of course, the austerity also come later. Overseas. But it's a very quick fix. You don't need to endeavor much. You don't need to, like, you're too fat to take pills. And then you lose weight. So you don't have to exercise. You don't have to control your tongue that much. So you can just continue just by taking pills. So what people are saying, give me God in a pill. I want religion, I want Ram without Rajaram. I want Ramchandra, but I don't want the culture of Ramchandra. I don't want the system of Ramchandra. I want God, but without God. That's actually what they're saying. Because just a person who's a little sane, he can understand there's something higher than me. And I need to some degree surrender to that. But because they want to be cheated, therefore there are so many cheaters that says, yeah, you can do like this. You can stand on your head, or you can give some money, or you can perform this kind of meditation, or you can say this prayer, or you can do this. But the whole purpose is just you have to come to my tradition. And also, this is the topic of the day, and especially yesterday's lecture and verse. Was very much about this, my religion and my tradition. So all this identification, Sarvapari Vinimuktam, and this is what Rupa Goswami makes clear from the Narada Pancharatra. This Sarvapari Vinimuktam, it says, puts in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that one has to be free from all designations, all parties, in order to approach Krishna. And one has to engage in senses, Rishikina, Rishikina. Sarvapari Vinimuktam, Tat Paradana Niyamanam. Again, Niyamanam. No envy, no dirt. Nirmala, no dirt, no envy. Rishikena, Sevanam Bhakti Ujjati. Sevanam, the master of the senses. Engage the senses in the service of the master of the senses. This is really where true religion starts. I won't give up all other parties, as Prabhupada quotes here, we spoke yesterday about this verse. Coincidentally, I hadn't read the verse before. Where Prabhupada says, Sarvadharma Pritya, quotes half of the verse twice. That one has to give up all mundane dharma. This is really what. Again, this word, Prabhupada is in a terrible situation in one sense, because he has to translate Sanskrit into a Malayalam language. Very, very difficult job. Extremely difficult. Because how do you explain dharma? So Prabhupada has to make all these compromises, called it religion or occupational duties. And okay, I think one can see that's the materialistic dharma. How will you really translate real dharma, paradharma? Very difficult, because there's no words. You can do it in sentences, but there's no word really describing that kind of intrinsic nature of the soul. But that's really what dharma is. It's the intrinsic nature of the soul, the nature of what we are. So when we transgress that, or when we go against that, then we have adharma. Then we have irreligion or adharma. And adharma means suffering. Adharma means cheating. In Caitanya Candra, it's cheating. And when we hear this verse again, Dharma Prutita Caitanya, this is Dharma Artha Kama Moksha. Our acharyas are explaining this. All this is done. This is all just pertaining to the body. It's all just to do with the body. So Dharma is kicked out, Artha is kicked out, Karma is kicked out, and Moksha is kicked out. We want nothing to do with any of these things. Materialistic Dharma, of course. And Artha just developing wealth, and Karma just enjoying the senses, and then you become frustrated, and then you go for liberation. So we don't want any of that. We don't even want liberation. We want only service to Krishna. Nothing else. And that's the highest, that's real Dharma. That's what Dharma means. Service to Krishna. Sarva Dharma Prit Mam Ekam Sarva. That's Dharma. And everything else is cheating. So to come to that point is in this world, in Kali Yuga, extremely rare. Very rare. Practically impossible. This is as Manushanam Sahasreshu Kashchit Yatati Siddhi Yatatam Abhisidanam Kashtin Mambeti Tattva. That is very few people who just come to the point of Naimittika Dharma. Very few. And of those, Krishna says, it's extremely few who really gets to know me. Ahunam Jnanam Ante Jnanam Vachante Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Samahatma Siddharabhava. Ahunam Janmas. After many Janmas, Ahunam Jnanam Ante. Jnanam, one is in knowledge, also intelligence. Jnanam Mam Prabhatanti Surendras. Vasudeva is Sarvam Iti. Understanding that Vasudeva is everything. Krishna is everything. And this is very deep, because that means everything. That means even the religious, the materialistic world we're in, Krishna is that. Sarva Karana Karana, he is the cause of all causes, but also in another sense, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Everything is Krishna. Samahatma, such a person who understands is a Mahatma. And Durlabha is very, very rare, extremely rare. So we are endeavoring to come to that position. We are endeavoring to come to the level where there's no Caitanya Dharma anymore in our lives. And until that, we are still, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Kali Chidis. We are still sort of like worshippers of Kali. Or worshippers or followers of Kali. Because it's not the external things that make a real devotee. That on this level, it's not the devotee, it's not the kontumala, it's not the tilak, it's not the bead bag around your neck. It's none of these things makes a devotee. A devotee makes only by pure devotional service. That's why Rupa Swami, he makes the distinguish or give this fantastic definition of pure devotional service. Who knows this verse? Anyabhinasita Sunya? Anyone knows? Good. You should learn this verse. This is the essence of our philosophy. Anyabhinasita Sunyam. There's no, in pure devotional service, Anyabhinasita Sunyam. Sunyam, like Prabhupada mentioned, void. It's nothing. Prabhupada was killing the voidness. By his preaching, he was destroying the voidness in personal philosophy. So, Anyabhinasita is completely void of ulterior motives. There's nothing in it for me. I'm only here to please Krishna. Nothing else. Of course, this is an extremely elevated level. But until one gets on that level, one is following the same process. Nothing in it for me. I want nothing else but pleasing Krishna, because I'll get the result. That's still pure devotional service, but it's not necessarily pure Ananda devotional service. But that's good. Because we cannot, it's a gradual process. But we can choose more or less where to start. We can go all the way like 12 chapters, beginning with 12.8. Like the first is just to surrender fully. Constantly remember Krishna. If you can't do that, what do you do? Follow by Sadhana Bhakti. What do we do? So this is where we start. By Sadhana Bhakti. We skip all the inferior processes like yogi and jnana and sakha and nishka and all these things we just skip and take to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Pure devotional service. Still pure devotional service. But it's not like when we heard also recently, we hear this often, like the mango. That the mango is still a mango, it's not ripe, but it's still a mango. So that's Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. There might be some, we are not completely, we haven't come to the point that we are doing everything we do simply for pleasing Krishna. We have a little motive is there, but the motive is that I want to come to the point of Ananya Bhakti. I want to come to the point of Ananya's Ananya Tinjalo and Anyabhinasita Sunyam. I want to come to that point. So that's why I go through all the things I do, even involuntarily, or even I dislike it, or it's not for my satisfaction, not for my gratification. Still, we go through the things because we know this is what Krishna is asking me to do, so that I will reach that level. And then Krishna, of course, in the 12th chapter, go lower, but we should not even consider that. We shouldn't even consider going lower than Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And all these other things, they are for the karmis, they're the one all the way out there, that the real Naiyatika Dharma, that is on that level, highest. Everybody knows this, I mentioned yesterday, everybody knows what these 3 levels of devotional service means. Nitya Dharma means, of course, real Dharma. Anitya Dharma means one has no conception of the soul, and one has no real conception of God, or God is like the way a Christian has God. Like something very undefined, or in my eyes. And Naimittika Dharma is you understand the soul and you understand God to some degree, not with full realization, but you understand as a person. But you use mundane methods to approach him. So that's Naimittika Dharma. Like it's also the leelas of Krishna in the material world is called Naimittika. It's not the real thing. In another sense it is because it's Krishna. So it's like it's materially tainted religion because you use material methods or processes to reach it. So that will not manifest unless you have the goal in mind and unless you hear from pure devotees. So if you can stand on your head from until eternity, but you will not reach Krishna. So it takes, but what is there is that these processes, they purify you gradually, so that it will become easier when you actually come in connection with Bhakti. You become purified. Like a vegetarian, it's easier to take to Krishna consciousness than a meat eater. Probably speaks about meat eating in the book. So for meat eater, it's extremely difficult, very difficult. But even there, we see Lord Chaitanya's mercy and Prabhupada's mercy. That even though we have people coming here, eating meat and still interested in Krishna consciousness, sometimes even become devotees, even though that's rare. But most of us, we've been leaders. We've been through that. And then we became vegetarian, and then we came to Krishna consciousness, I think for most of us. So that is the extreme mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada, that just even those who are so degraded, killing cows, killing so many animals, very, very sinful, still, if they have just a little desire, Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu helps them from them, give them the Shakti, give them the purity, so that they can actually approach real Dharma. Because people who are not, they will normally go like this. I don't want anything to do with it. This is fanaticism. That's what a materialistic person will say. That is what a normally immediate will say. Because he'll understand, intelligently or very subtly, he'll understand that if I really start reading this literature, I'll have to change my ways. I have to change my life. And ultimately they won't. Why really meat? One thing is people they grow up in families of meat eaters, so they are getting accustomed. It's like smoking cigarettes. First cigarette is not nice. And meat doesn't taste nice. And we hear the story of Prabhupada when he was sick, and his doctor came, and he says, you have to give him chicken, otherwise he'll die. Prabhupada was a child. So Gomohan D said, but he never ate meat, we never cooked meat in our house, even this house, in our whole family tradition. And he never ate meat before. And he says, you have to give him, otherwise he will die. So he said, the doctor said, I will cook it in my home and I will cook it. So he brought some chicken soup, something. And immediately gave it to Prabhupada, 5 years old, something, 5 years old. He immediately threw it out. Just purely, I don't need this. Get rid of it. So they said, no, take it away. Even then, again, the doctor says, if you won't give him this, he will die. So what did they do? When in front of the family deity, just prayed. I don't think just a few days after this. So this is he going inside? Sometimes, often people, they grow up in families of meat eaters, and it's just they can become accustomed. But really, the whole purpose, the whole thing behind meat eating, what is that? Envy. It's really envy. I want to control that person. I have so much power, I can kill that person and eat it. That's envy. That's why we hear that what is the religious principles that is counteracted by meat eating? Mercy. No mercy. You cannot have mercy because you're killing him. He wants to run away, and you catch him and you kill him. Mercilessness. How can there be no mercy? So you're destroying your own mercy because you want to. This is envy. Mere envy. Envy of Krishna and ultimately envy of this soul. Because everybody, Krishna is there in the heart even of the pig or the cow they slaughter. So I can control. Like the demon says, so much is mine now, and in the future will be more and more. All these demonic qualities, they are simply built on this principle of I'm in control. That I'm in control, that everything I want to control everything, as Prabhupada often say, everything I survey. Everything I glance on what's mine. I want to control. That's the highest, this is demonic qualities. All these mentioned in the 16th chapter. Dhambuddhaka bhimanascha, krodham bhayasam ivacha, ajnana chakracha, pata sampadam asurim. Asurim, what is the qualities of an asura? 16.4. Dhamma, pride. Dhambuddhaka, pride. Arrogance, conceit. Dhambuddhaka bhimana, abhimana means pride. Dhambuddhaka bhimanascha, krodham. And then, of course, arrogance. Dhambuddhaka bhimanascha, krodham parisham ivacha. Ajnana and ignorance.